Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Huddle. We are your weekly playbook wherein, once again, anytime Paul is here, you don't get the good intro because he's the only one that can pull it off.
He's so excited to deliver the intro. It's his own little brainchild. That's why.
It is. He worked really hard on that intro and he like previewed it to us like 4 or 5 times before he said it the first time. And then I think he changes it a little bit every week.
He did. He said that he practiced it in his reflection, not just the mirror, but anytime he seen his reflection somewhere, he would stop and practice it.
So we're on the blue collar cruise number 8 now. I missed the last one, I think. So
I think he missed the last couple.
yeah, I've been slacking lately. I missed the last couple episodes even.
Well, welcome back.
So we're
Just,
gonna be. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, can you hear me okay now that I adjusted all this right here?
Yeah.
Basically, eating the mic.
Yep. So today we are actually gonna get into some AI talk because it's one of those biggest, I want to say, things that people really don't understand yet, but everyone is still using it, just maybe not to the extent that they should be, I think.
Yeah, there's more and more information and videos coming out on how to utilize it. I mean, we had a conversation earlier today that made me realize that I'm not using it to the potential that I can be or should be.
Yeah, so this one is talking about architects using AI, and it's an actually staggering low number to me, right? They're saying that 6% of architects use AI regularly, which is crazy because I thought it would be way more. But going through I've been going through some Microsoft Copilot classes, and in there, even the number was a lot lower on people that are using AI regularly. So you think that 50, 60, 70+% of people use AI regularly when it's actually a little bit lower than that in the workforce. But of the people that use it, how are they using it too? So
They're just it replaced Google search.
it really did. I mean,
I I
and
can't
it
even
didn't
use
really
Google
replace it,
anymore.
right? I mean, you search something on Google and it comes up with that AI generated thing right at the top, and then it gives you everything else after that. So of the 6% that are using it, 53 have experimented with AI tools, indicating interest in the field. Uh, Firms with 50 or more employees are at the forefront of adoption, right? Because they actually have someone in charge, uh, I guess, teaching people how to use it. So the bigger you are, the more apt you are to use it because people are actually showing you how, and they're implementing different practices to keep you safe because AI is crazy.
Well,
If
and you
you
could dedicate the staff for it too, right? Like a company with 50 or more employees essentially might have someone that they can just allocate to that the growth of AI involvement as their full time position
Yeah,
until it's implemented.
so 8% have fully implemented the AI solutions, and additional 20% are in the process of doing so. And that's when it gets difficult because if you're in these classes that I've been attending, a lot of people are scared to say that they're using AI because they think that it's one cheating at their job, which it's not. It's just a tool, and that's what we need to start realizing, that AI is not going to take over. It's just a tool, just like any other tool in your toolbox. So they think that it's cheating, or two, that they're going to get in trouble from their workplace. So I think it was something like 70% of the people that were using their own personal AI rather than a company supplied one, which is
Right.
even scarier because AI is the motto is it uses your information in order to learn. And when you get it through like us, so we use Chat GPT and Microsoft Copilot, right? Both. So they kind of do different things. Microsoft Copilot is more focused on like I can have that look at our documents in the cloud and pull data from that. When ChatGPT, you actually have to feed it the information in
Mhm.
order to give it back to you.
I think there's a way to give it permissions too, but the permissions are limited um, through chat.
Well, so if you're just using, something the free version, basically, it's going to use whatever information you give it, and it's going to retain that information. Um, Basically, once you give it to it, you're never getting that back. You can't be like, hey, I messed up. Give me that information back. It's just like when people used to say, once you put something on the internet, it's there forever. Once you put something into these AIs, it's in there forever, unless you have a subscription, right? So we have the subscription, so that way it doesn't train the models and it keeps our information safe.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, so that 6% that are utilizing it, like you said, that's low, and maybe that's low because of you know, internally they don't want to share information. Maybe there's proprietary information that they're afraid of leaking, or they're just afraid of any type of leak as far as contacts, email lists. I mean, there's a lot of bad that could happen if you're not safe about it, um, and you don't want to go to it for legal advice and don't want to put financials in it. It does make mistakes, and maybe that's
And that's
what
called hallucination. When AI makes mistakes, it's called hallucinating.
yes.
So architects age 50 and under are more inclined to use the AI tools, which we're seeing that with the younger kids too, right? My son actually reposted a TikTok the other day that it was like if Chat GPT was a person, and it's like he's going up and giving them, bringing them in for a hug and stuff, and they're just chilling, eating dinner together. It's like the younger
What do you think
younger
about
people embrace it more.
yeah, I gave my son access to chat and have his own little channel and all that. And yeah, he just uses it to ask information. He asks a lot of questions that a 12-year-old would ask.
And that's what it's supposed to be used for, right? A tool. And I think we talked about this one of the last times we talked about AI was them going in there and asking or telling the kids, yes, you need to use this as a tool and not as your own brain, basically. And you ask it, hey, how do I learn about this, rather than just asking it questions and thinking that it's going to give you the right answer. Use it as a tool to learn. Uh, the people between 35 and 50 predominantly use the chat bot, which is just that, asking questions, while people 35 and under are using it for image generation, which I have not been able to get Chat GPT or any other thing to actually generate an image the way that I want to.
No, yeah, you got to be very specific and detailed. And yeah, I've messed around with it a little bit, and I think
Well, it's just the spelling of the words even. Like I would put like preferred flooring and give me some different logo variations for this, and it never spelled it right, even though you give it the correct spelling.
sometimes you got to tell chat that they're not listening; they're being insubordinate, and then he'll apologize.
So among the 6% who regularly use AI, 91% engage with chatbots, which is what everyone thinks of, right? You go on there, you type it. 70% employ image generation tools, and 61% utilize grammar support and text analytics, which is Like you said, it's the new Google. You're not going on there and just typing a word, seeing how it's spelled. You're asking an AI how to spell things even.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
where did
and
that go?
there's 90% of architects are expressing apprehension. They don't want to use it because hallucinating the accuracy of the outputs, right? Potential unintended consequences, which are you going to get disciplined by your boss? Are you going to feed this information that is proprietary that's not supposed to be out there, and then oops, I I'm on my own account, not the company's account. I just messed up.
So one of a while ago when it started getting traction, I took one of the education classes that were from the chamber, and that was one of the things that one of the instructors or whoever was leading that had said was that when it came out, some people were putting proprietary information out there that made some of their um, inside documents available to the public, and like with financials and something like
Right. And
there was a
then
couple
once
other
someone
things.
else asks the question, it can refer to that document and be like,
Yeah,
oh, so Samsung, I believe it was, did that where engineers were putting code in there. And
I
once you
think
put
that's
that in there,
I think that's exactly who was used for the example was Samsung.
so you just have to be careful. And that leads to the next one, which is security and privacy issues, right? Because all it takes is if you do have both and then you put everything into something that's not secure, that's an issue. And just, I think it's just the older people don't really trust technology, anyways, right? It's like I'll put it in terms of you when we started
Me,
switching over to just takeoff software, and then you being like, I don't trust this. I just want to look at a print, and then
give me a drafting table and a ruler and some colored pencils. Let me do some work. But yeah, that ship has sailed a long time ago. I'm happy that I know how to do it that way. But I'm more excited about being able to use technology.
the authenticity and differentiation between human and AI generated content, and the transparency in data storage and usage is what people are worried about. And the AI generated content can be very, very real sometimes. I mean, I've seen videos where the only way you know it's AI generated is because there's a glitch in it, right? A glitch in the matrix. It's just
Yeah.
that one little thing, but everything else looks totally legit. There's been people on TikTok that have come forward and it's like, guys, I am not this person. This is AI generated, and it looks exactly like the videos that these other people post. So I think that's one of the scary things about it, especially now. It's how can you tell?
Well, and a lot of subscriptions too, like even like Instagram and um, some of the platforms that they use for shopping. Some of those videos are just straight AI, and they're coming out and saying that they've been using AI to generate videos, um, videos to attract more people by cleaning up whatever raw footage they have. And yeah, it does what you tell it to do, and it learns what you allow it to learn. Um, a lot faster than any person, a lot faster than anything you've ever seen.
So, a survey indicated that 74% of architecture, engineering, and construction firms are integrating AI in various project phases, particularly in design. That's 48%. That's them using it as a tool, getting ideas because where do these things come from? And they got to come from somewhere. And if you can use it as an idea generator, that's particularly helpful. I mean, just think of it in terms of writing. If you're writing an article and you don't know how to begin, hey, this is the article that I'm writing. This is what I wanted to talk about. Can you help me out a little bit? And 48% was design, and then planning is 42%. So
There's a lot, guys. There's a lot for AI. I mean,
just,
you could talk about AI for 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not run out of things to talk about
I
or
have
to
been to
learn.
this to the same technical like the class for Microsoft Copilot numerous times and learned something different every single time. Not only because there's so much to learn, but because it's always expanding. They release things all the time. So what they're finding as far as obstacles of this implementation is the cost, the training for people. Um, I mean, just look at Copilot in general. I think it's like $32 a month per seat that you have. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
if you have a team of 5, 10 people that are using it, that cost per month is going to go up exponentially. Um, we only have a couple people that use it, but that's also because of the data privacy. Like once you get your Copilot and you don't have things set up the right way, everyone is able to access the information that it has. Uh, Data privacy and security concerns, lack of skilled personnel. That's a huge one right there. The resistance to change within the industry, and we talk about that all the time. And then you look at the ages of people, and it's the same thing, different piece of technology. It's and when we say technology, we don't just mean computers and stuff because we look at adhesives and talk about technology, and that's when installers are like, I've been using this adhesive for 30 years. This is how I'm going to do it. And all it does is it's as easy as reading the bucket to get to where you're supposed to be. And it's
Is
just that pushback.
I wonder, is anybody in the audience using AI? What do you use it for? It doesn't have to necessarily be flooring related, just in general. See, kind of give everybody else an idea of what direction you can go because everybody's authentic, man. Everybody has their own things they're working on. So just
Yeah.
curious.
I'm like me on the personal side, I'm using it for meal prepping because my son was in wrestling and he was like, I want a meal prep. I mean, typically, it's one of those harder things to do. Is to actual meal prep, but to get things to mix up in there because I only cook certain things typically. So I went in there and I asked AI, me and my son are meal prepping. He wants to either cut weight, maintain weight, give me some ideas using these ingredients. This is what we like, and this is like you said, the more information you give it, the better off your results are going to be. And that's what I did, and it's been. I mean, we meal prepped for a while and got to get back on it. We just got back from Vegas last night, so we did not do any meal prepping there.
Yeah, I'm using it for everything. Like I got so many different folders. I problem is I have a lot of different ideas, so I try to keep track of ideas in there, using it to organize thoughts, organize direction of some of the ideas.
But yeah, I mean, if you're not using AI, you're falling behind right now, and it's the information is out there. The classes that I've been taking are actually free. What is the app that I use? I'll let you guys know so that way you guys can look it up and start using it too. It's an app called Meetup, and in this app, I just
Oh,
searched
I
for
just
like,
downloaded that one.
did you? It's I just searched for like Microsoft Copilot or I'm part of like a Microsoft 365 user group because that's the technology that we use in here, and they have meetups and regular
Yep. Yep.
classes that you can go to at no cost.
And that's how I found it. Looking for groups. Matter of fact, AI told me about Meetup. Oh, if you're looking for specific groups, download this app.
So definitely get on that app and see what classes they got for you. So
What else we got for today? I know we spent a lot of time on that, and it kind of spun off from the architect used to everyday use. Um, I feel like we touched base on some of these in a previous podcast, but then again, or another blue collar cruise. But then again, there's always something new, always something to talk about, even if you're on the same subject.
So we can talk about this StarNet thing that's going on. So
Yeah, just go ahead and
it's
read
the
from.
actual CRE Fear and Greed Index, and we're gonna all learn what this means together. I'm actually gonna be pulling it up here in a second. I'm gonna put it on the screen. I think it's like a PowerPoint presentation that they had on there,
Yep. And Daniel's going to read because his voice just carries way better on that. I was went back listening to a previous episode, and
and you
uh,
can't even hear yourself.
it sounded like I was in the background somewhere trying to whisper in someone's ear. You see, Nate Hall said he prefers actual intelligence.
You don't even use a laser measure. You are holding yourself back, my friend.
Hey, but to each their own, right? It works for you, and you're able to make it work day to day. I get it. Um, I won't ever just go back to just using a tape measure only. I use both.
So the NF this is from Floor Covering Weekly. It says a recent report from the National Retail Federation and Hackett Associates indicates that import volumes. Am I reading the wrong one? No. U.S. container ports. I am reading the wrong one. This one gave me the wrong link. Anyways, we'll continue. Are projected to remain elevated through the spring 2025, driven by retailers accelerating shipments ahead of anticipated tariff increases. So I think this just ties into that index that I was talking about. So the key discussion on this subject is going to be I mean these tariffs are hitting, right? It if you're a retailer or on the sales side of things, you're going to be getting these letters probably on a daily basis to where they don't even know when these tariffs are going to take effect and how much they are. So, I mean, I think we just got one yesterday for like a 14%, and it's still uncertain that if it's going to be that 14% or if it's going to be more. So,
Yeah, starting at 14%. Yeah, with
so you got to be proactive on things. When um I was talking to getting pricing for a project, and our sales rep came back with, this is not with tariff pricing. I recommend you order this as soon as possible because things could change tomorrow,
so
basically.
so the thing that confuses me is what about the product that's already here in the U.S.? What about the product that's already ready to ship? They're going to put tariff cost rate on that right away too.
Yep.
And like I get from a business perspective, I get it. And if they
I
don't
think
do it and others do, they're leaving money on the table.
well, I
So
think the reasoning behind that is, say we take that 14%, but that's only 14% and the actual manufacturer gets a 25%. So the cost difference between that 14 and that 25 is what is going to be made up in the stock
future
that they have
buying.
now.
Yeah,
So it doesn't hit as hard. And I think what the hope is that they take that, and that 14% is good enough until the tariffs get lowered or eliminated.
it makes sense. So they're sharing the cost is what it is.
Yeah, they don't want to hit us with the entire, 10, 15, 25%, at a 25% rate. They'll split it at that 14, and hopefully that offsets itself.
I do remember the last time that happened to be right when I was remodeling the house, and I had to buy all that wood at like $68 a sheet, And that same wood I can go buy right now for less than $20 a sheet.
And that's what I've been telling people, right? They've been asking about how the tariffs have affected us, and I'm like, man, it's the crazy thing is that prices just went down like 6 months ago from last time, and now it's doing it all over again. So they're looking at Chinese goods, which have recently doubled from 10 to 20%, and now he's talking about an additional 50% on these because it's a trade war going on.
Well,
What's if we say we're going to do something, they're going to retaliate. If they say they're going to do something, we're going to retaliate.
yeah, hopefully it works out the way it's planned in the end, where it gets everybody at the same table to figure it out. It's just, I guess, we got to stop being the world's purchaser, right? Like
Right?
all the tariffs that they put that everybody's already had on us versus what's going on now. Just trying to equal it out, and it'd be nice to have it equaled out because I didn't even realize some of those metrics up until the last year or two on some of that, and it's just like we are just like all the other countries look at us as just a straight consuming country, and they've been able to get away with it for a long time, and I guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it's all for the good.
So Jesus says he needs help getting contract material. He has a bank, so he can get material, but how does he get accounts from like the Mohawks and Shaws, or is it just for GC? Technically, GC shouldn't have accounts, really. It should
Yeah.
be flooring contractors. And then he says that he's having issues getting material from Karistan. And that right there is I guess you got to look at each manufacturer and know that they have different sections of their business. So Mohawk and Shaw both have, like Mohawk has the Mohawk Group, Mohawk Floors. One's residential, one's commercial.
Yep.
Shaw has Shaw Floors, Shaw Contract. And then after that, you also have um what are they like even Shaw has their turf line.
Oh, and
And
their builder line too, right? Like the products that are specific for builders, like I would say corporate structured contracts, stuff like that. When they're selling in volume,
but it
um,
depends on what you need. So if you're looking at a Shaw, they can open you up a contract account, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to get on the residential side. That's where a lot of them, even the distributors, are looking for you to carry their displays. If you're not
yep.
a displaying, retailer, you're not going to be able to get your hands on some of this product. So it's
Well,
all in who your rep is and what you can do personally in that relationship. Maybe it's a one-off. Hey, I just need one roll of this, and they may end up doing it for you. But typically, if you're not gonna have their displays, they're not gonna sell to you.
and sometimes then when we first started it and we were getting our accounts together, we were told no quite a bit, but it wasn't because we didn't qualify. It was because they didn't want to flood that area or that zone with the same product. You don't want 20 vendors in a 20-mile radius that can all potentially sell the same product, right? You want to try to spread it out so that way, like I said, they're just not flooding their market or their zone per se.
Yeah. So I hope we answered your question on that. I would definitely see who the reps are in your area. I think you can go on the websites and search for those or contact them to ask them because each individual area is going to have different sales reps.
Yeah.
So as far as this, they're talking about imposing fees on ships coming from China. So this is on top of the tariff. 1 million to 1.5 million for each dock. So you're not only looking at a tariff of 50%, you're looking at having to split that cost of just them docking. And remember, during COVID, we had this same issue, and it wasn't because of the a trade war like this, that was because it was just there was so much to come in, but only a certain amount of docking. So some of these
Yeah.
companies were paying that, like, dude, I'll give you 50,000,
Yeah.
$100,000 to dock my ship right now.
Well, workforce dwindled, right? So the people who are available to take charge of the freight to ship everything was limited, and when you know you have you cut your delivery workforce down to 50-20%, all of a sudden that 20% becomes really valuable, and people would rather make a little bit of money than no money to keep their product um, going to wherever it needs to go for the sales. They don't want to jeopardize any contracts either. So
So he's saying that some people don't even carry Karistan, and that's where he was getting at, where not everyone is going, they're not going to open everyone up. So, because if you have a saturated market, then it's just like anyone can get it, right? They want it to be exclusive to only certain people and protect those dealers so that way everyone's not selling the same thing. So you have to look at the people that are Karistan dealers differently than the other people, because you don't want everyone to be able to sell the same thing, because then you can just go anywhere and be like, who's going to be the lowest person?
yeah, I mean, and you have a different dynamic though, bro. Like you have the certifications and the training and the understanding and the know-how to accompany some of the sales, and you have documentation to back all of that up. So it's you can you can portray it as a niche market for yourself, and that's a conversation you can have with your rep and say,
It
this is
all starts with that conversation with your
yeah,
rep, I think, is what it gets down to. It's going
yes,
on the website and saying, hey, I need an account for this. And don't get me wrong, there's been times where, someone comes in here and they're like, this is the material I want. And I'm like, I have this that looks like it. Nope, this material. And then I contact the companies and they're like, yeah, there's three other people around you selling. We're not going to let you sell it. And that's just a sale that either I'm going to convince them that this material that I have is just as good, or sorry, these are the places who sell it. Go ask one of them if you can get it from them.
yeah. And that's where reputation comes in handy too, because if you're sending a lead to someone because you can't facilitate it, um, call them. Hey, I'm sending so and so your way. Just let you know, I can't. They want this material. I don't have access to it. I'm not going to be allowed access. So
And
here
then
you go.
the other option is to, yeah, is that what you just said? Is to go to one of these dealers and say, hey, I'm an installer. This is what I need. Like, help me out here.
Yep.
Like, let's create a relationship. If I have people that want to buy it, I can come to you. I can sell it from this dealer, and you help me out, I'll help you out. I'll bring you all the sales whenever someone comes to me.
Just had a conversation with another company yesterday about all of that. I had to say, look, I understand that we're referred, but you want me to do all your work and not get any of the margins of the sales. That's a hard pill to swallow when you realize how many moving parts and pieces go into a budget, just a budget, not even a quote, just a budget.
So the imports are expected to stay the same all the way through spring, and then the projections show that they're gonna start declining in around June of 25. So we should start seeing less imports from at least China starting in 25, and that's across the board, because there was a report yesterday that I was looking at that said, even I want to say it was Apple, that is going to stop shipping from China and actually start shipping more from, I don't even remember where else they're shipping from, but they're going to start shipping from, shifting away from China to some one of their other manufacturing plants that they have. India, maybe.
Oh, yeah. There was a couple of things that I was reading about that the other day too, and everybody's just going to shift, right? Everybody's going to find a loophole. They're going to move their facilities to another country or update their other facilities that aren't in China just to try to beat the race, I guess, or beat the game. But we'll see how all that goes.
And I think that's one of the issues is that the flooring sector is heavily reliant on imports. You're
Yeah,
thinking any of your plastic flooring, and by that's a lot of flooring. People like to call it LVT, LVP,
yeah, and that just happens to be the material and the flooring that is projected to increase and increase over the next few years. Like,
right? So we're looking at supply chain disruptions and cost fluctuations due to tariffs and shipping, and that's a double whammy. If they're going to be charging the tariffs on top of anything that's coming from China, we're going to charge you 1.5 million to dock.
mm, mm, mm.
So I mean, it's not something that we we can control. We just have to roll with it. And I would highly suggest that if you are in sales to put on an escalation clause in
There
anything
you
that you're
go.
sending out. So
I wonder how much time is going to be before people start shipping on the black market. Hey, you want to get some of this LVP? I got it on the low.
I got it on a
What's that?
speedboat coming from Cuba tonight.
Yeah, what's that? The Pablo Escobar, right? Everybody's going to start finding their own private people to kind of fly under the radar and bring materials in. It's
It's
funny to think about it like that, but dude, that's not really that far fetched. So
no, I mean, like I said, man, it's there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to roll with the punches. Make sure you have an escalation clause in there, and make sure you communicate that with everyone that you're working with because we're all in construction. We're all under the same thing, man. Everyone is dealing with it. It's not just flooring. I have also, talked to people that it's not even things that are coming from overseas. It's just supply chain shortages all around. Because even one of the big name manufacturers that does a lot of bass and transitions, I'm looking at,
uh,
man, I have been waiting for stuff that was supposed to be here a month ago, and they are telling me, yes, we still have no date for you. And it's like, what am I going to do now?
yeah, and that is yeah, that's a whole nother story, to be honest.
So just make sure you have yourself covered, guys. We don't want anyone going out of business because they didn't just have an escalation clause in there. Hey, if it raises this percentage, that's got to be covered by you. And that's where transparency works out really good because you're going to be like, hey, I will tell you exactly how much this is going to cost. Like, I will give you the bill, you pay it. Like, I don't care about marking this up. I just don't want to lose.
Right. And Nate Holland made another comment about there are domestic producers. Isn't Adura made here? So your domestic producers, if you guys are out there, right now is your time to shine, man. Drop your prices, operate off of volume. You have a window of
Well,
opportunity that's pretty small right now, and you could capitalize on it if you're able to produce and get your product out and still find a way to make money with a lower margin. But the volume thing, like, it's a great window of opportunity.
and that's the thing. I think every manufacturer should probably have one or two lines that are made in the USA.
Yeah.
And I think the goal was always to expand, and now is the time to do it. But I mean, some of the stuff that I've been pricing out I have been trying to look for that made in the USA sticker. But the issue is that even some of the stuff that's made in the USA was already priced at around the prices going to be with the
Yeah.
tariffs. So,
Well, it's
I
because
mean,
Americans are more expensive to pay, right? Like
it's
the
only going to end up going up from there because if they're going to raise everything else, the cost of everything else is going to end up going with it. So I do have a couple projects out there quoted with some, made in the USA stuff because you got to start protecting it somehow. And I figured what better way than to just quote them now and hope for the best later.
and they come with when you purchase a product that is made in the USA through preferred flooring, we will throw in for free a couple of made in the USA stickers for your laptop. Proud supporter of USA products. What else we got? Do you have any
So,
more to add to any of that, Daniel?
well, I was looking and that was just out of order. So that CRE daily, the fear and greed index is what we were talking about before I went into that other one, which worked out great because that was some good conversation, I think. Coley has plants in KC and Vegas. I don't know who Coley is.
I'll know in a minute.
So a recent collaboration between John Burns Research and Consulting and CRE Daily has produced the Fear and Greed Index, a tool designed to assess current sentiments and expectations within the commercial real estate sector over the next 6 months. So investors highlight an unprecedented focus on location quality, noting that buyers and tenants are prioritizing A-plus locations due to limited resources. And I think that's what we've talked about that before too, about how the the commercial space has been dwindling, especially when you're talking about warehouses and stuff, because before they were being converted into
Office space.
offices. And now since COVID, it's we've been seeing a growing number of offices being converted over to like multifamily.
Yeah. And you know this is about to get hit hard. So there's a place across the street from us that a while ago they said $1 amount, and I went and looked at it after they started the renovation, and they wanted another dollar amount for lease. But I got an email saying just make an offer. We'll entertain anything right now.
Right.
Like they just want an offer on the space because they made an investment, and all of a sudden nobody is looking for space to lease. They literally just said, just make an offer. We won't be offended. I promise.
Because they're not getting anything. But the quarter 1 25 report is based on market ratings across four sectors, which are multifamily, industrial, retail, and office, which is pretty all encompassing when we're talking about it. Oh, he gave a link for the
Yeah, I
Coley
found it.
flooring.
I
Okay,
found it. We'll just skip back to that. It says Coley Manufacturing LLC is a Las Vegas 100% USA made SPC manufacturing facility. So, and then
100%.
yep.
Nice.
So I might have to check into them. That's see, look at that. Look at that insight right there. That's something we just learned today.
Right, and I've been at Novalis. They're over in Georgia and seen their production too. So they produce quite a bit here in the States. I mean, it's hard to produce the amount of flooring we need in the States. So that's why you get containers and containers and containers over here. But that's also how you get some of that stuff that comes over here with no name on it. You don't know who made it, just a white box, and it's like, good luck with this. I mean, I get those emails every single day. Hey, we're
Yeah,
a manufacturer from overseas. Buy an entire shipping container full of this stuff.
I 100% read those emails with an accent.
So StarNet suggests that members leverage this data to engage with stakeholders, utilizing their extensive networks to validate findings and foster business development without solely competing on price.
That sounds easier said than done. in order for
So
people not to compete on price, they got to be doing it for the passion instead of the profit. And I think that, unfortunately, you have to do it for profit to some extent. For the majority of it has to be for profit. Otherwise, you can't sustain and you can't support passion. So I guess finding balance is going to be hard, but finding purpose is even harder, I guess.
so it says I'm gonna pop up this thing right here. It says a value above 55 indicates expansion, while a value below 45 implies contraction, which it'll show you where we've been and what is being projected right now as of quarter 1. So we're looking at this index right here. So from quarter 1 24 to quarter 1 25, it has actually increased, which means that people are looking at expanding. And I think a big majority of that is due to no one really wanting these spaces anymore. And then not only that, but hey, like you said, give me a price. I'm not going to be offended. Or them seeing the value in housing and converting a lot of these buildings over to that because a majority of them are in downtown areas. So why not convert them when
Right.
that's where a majority of people want to be anyways?
I
So,
almost feel like the next industrial revolution is in the U.S. is about to come. People are going to try to get back to the bare bones, start manufacturing within either as a hobby, as a passion, just to create their own brand. Um,
and and this is kind of where if you look at this area right here where it says access to capital, I think it's going to be harder for the regular person to access capital to invest in things like this, and it's going to be the people that everyone loves. All these in private equity is going to come in and start purchasing up a lot of stuff.
yeah, that's already been happening for a while. I think the foresight's been there to the people who are at the top of that food chain. They already see it.
So industrial and multifamily real estate are the strongest sectors, and that's crazy because we don't see a lot of the industrial. I mean, there is still quite a bit of industrial going up. It's just I don't understand why a lot of it isn't. A lot of new stuff is coming up, but a lot of the stuff that's been around for a while, people aren't wanting to lease for some reason.
Well, you're leasing somebody else's problems. I think a lot of places that you have to lease are outdated as far as their features, right? So and it's not as cost effective as it used to be to lease and renovate as it is to just get some land and build from scratch. You know, if you're looking at even a 15% cost difference to customize versus renovate, you know, people would rather invest that 15% in getting exactly what they want instead of changing what they don't like.
Right? You can see right here where it's saying that office is steadily shrinking, and that's probably half the reason why some of these people are trying to do 100% back to the office, trying to save this retail or this real estate market from itself right now. I mean, even I think Tanya goes into the office 1 day a week right now, and that's it. They've already closed one of the buildings down where she works. It's just all empty, and they've consolidated all into one building.
You know, when real estate started, when people were getting put against others and bidding against each other, I said that uh, when that started, I said, "Yep, they're going to totally mess everything up." They're going to give a false representation of actual value. It's going to cause everything to go up, and that's exactly what happened. And that was right, yeah, 2020. That was like right around COVID when it started happening.
And then you look at this retail right here. I have actually seen some stuff that said that they're looking at a return to retailers because of everything being online. They're actually gonna the younger people are gonna want to start going back to retail because of, like, I don't know, like Nate was saying earlier, a lot of untrustworthy people online, or
Yeah.
the like Temu and stuff where, yeah, you can get something super cheap. Well, I don't know how cheap it's going to be anymore, but it's not that quality that you want. And people are
Right.
going to start getting sick of it and then focusing on going to more retail.
Well, it's like a lot of people are very what textile. Like you like to buy online. I am just getting comfortable doing that sometimes, but I like to go feel and touch and look and smell and
Well, I think a lot of it has to do too with some of these online retailers shifting their return policy where it's like you can't just order something and then return it. It's there's got to be some sort of process in there where it's like too many. I think maybe it's due to the people that are sending things back that aren't what it says it is. Like, yeah, I'm gonna order
yeah.
this and then just put a rock in this box and send it back.
Huh.
But industrial's growing too. Um, I think a part of that is due to the construction industry in general growing and needing warehouse space.
Construction is growing in terms of what the need for it. So people still want to build, but the labor force is dwindling. But
You still
what?
need somewhere to store all your materials.
Yeah.
That says for flooring in particular, it is very much a tactile experience involved. What is the first thing you do when you look at a new collection of something? You have to touch it, right?
hmm Yeah. I did
Uh,
100%.
And
Same thing
just
with tools.
so we did what is it, a pastry restaurant a few years ago, and I did provide them physical samples, but after a while they were like, this texture is just holding the flowers and stuff in it, and it's really hard to clean. So I think that's where you're looking at, people want to touch it and feel it rather than just seeing a picture and looking at the color like, oh, I love that color. Well, what's it feel like? Is it gonna provide me the, I don't know, the smoothness that I need in order to be cleanable?
Right. Well, that's one of the things. Like, is it not only is it going to be aesthetically pleasing, but how is it going to perform? Right. And a lot of people, in most cases, people neglect the maintenance portion of it because they're going more for aesthetics than performance and cleanability and maintainability. So that's where professionals got to come in and say, hey, if you get this, just so you know, like that beveled edge on that LVP that you want, and this is how you cook, and what you cook with a lot, this is it's going to get stuck. It's going to start looking a little odd very quickly.
So when you're looking at this, right, and looking at it in terms of what's it going to do to affect the flooring industry, you're looking at multifamily, man, and it's something that we haven't done too much of, but the people that do multifamily do end up making quite a bit of money. The thing is that when you're looking at it, it's not a huge money maker per se for the installation side because
Right.
it's typically a race to the bottom on the install rates because they're looking at it like, let's turn this over as fast as we can. Don't care what the prep looks like. They're not looking at any of that. They're just like, put it in and get out.
And get out. Let's get people in these units is really, yeah.
And that's because, that multifamily, they're not necessarily going to last forever anyways, right? Let's get people in them, start making money so that way we have enough in pocket. And I don't care if we're going to have to replace it after this tenant because we're just going to put some more inexpensive stuff in there with some inexpensive labor. And all it does is have to last that next tenant.
Yep, it's gotta last a year, right?
But I think that's where we fall short on bidding on multifamily is we don't look at it like that because we're always like, well, I want to do it right. If I'm not going to do it right, I'm not going to do it.
Well, if you do it right, a correct installation with correct maintenance can outlast an improper installation with correct maintenance.
Yeah, and that's what people don't look at. But I mean, it's not our money that's being invested into these places, so they can do what they want.
It's only our money if it fails.
So they're looking at office falling, which I mean, I don't know. Even I think um Chase Bank said that they were going to do 100% return to the office, and then they got a new CEO, and the new CEO was like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that." So, I mean, if you're in the market, definitely look into some multifamily, industrial. I know a few people were looking at expanding into even the polished concrete market, the coatings market. It's going to be huge in these industrial spaces, like Nate was saying that there's a lot of square footage in these places, and it's a majority of it that I've seen has been all polished concrete.
Yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot of it, and because it lasts, right? They're going to polish it. They have to maintain it. It's easier. There's no adhesives. There's not a lot of moving parts to the polished concrete if the system is done properly.
And it's been a growing market for so many years. We've lost. I mean, just look at grocery stores have been switching over to polished concrete for years, and then it's just not until recently where you go in there and it's like, oh, now they're kind of switching back. But how long is that going to last too? I mean, no one is really going back to VCT unless they've had it in there already for years.
Yeah, you got to be. That's I would say the older generations, um, because that's what they know. Just like the word linoleum is thrown around for
For
any
sheet
kind of
vinyl,
resilient. Yeah, it's the linoleum tile that clicks together.
64% of commercial real estate investors are holding tight in the first quarter. That means they're holding on to their money right now and they're going to getting ready to invest here coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, because what happens when you don't spend money? If you're not buying, then the prices aren't going to go up. They're going to go down because people need to sell. And once they go down, that's going to be attack mode. So if any of our listeners want to partner up and buy some properties over here in our area, there's some for sale. Let me know.
I was already talking to someone about that last week. Like it's going to be about that time to where we got to start pulling some money together and become your own private equity.
Yep.
But it's nice to see that people are actually doing this research and putting it out there for everyone to see. Like this right here was just downloaded off of a website that the article was on, and they give you everything. Hey, come learn about this and do what you will with this information. Look at those interest rates. I think that's really what people are looking for right now is let's see these interest rates go down, and then you're going to see a bunch of people buying stuff up.
Right. And if they don't go down, like the value or the cost of the property will stay a little bit lower. But once interest rates go down, the price is going to go back up to kind of offset that or balance that, I would say. Um, I almost, man, there's just so many opportunities on buildings that need a little. When I say a little bit of love, they need a lot of love, but with the right kind of love, you can double the value over by us anyway. But you know me, I always have a million ideas, but only one good one out of every million.
But the information's there, guys. Make sure you look at stuff like this and then start basing the decisions that you're making in your business on kind of what the experts are saying is going to be happening. Now would probably be a good time to look into a line of credit, or if you were already looking at expanding. Um, it, I don't know if it's necessarily the greatest time for a loan because of the rates are so high, but it's definitely a good time to start getting some liquid in your pocket, so that way when it is time, you're able to capitalize on
Mhm.
some of this stuff. Even if you're not buying the property, to have that liquid in your pocket in order to purchase goods, in order for when someone else buys these, they're gonna be ready to start flipping and getting it ready to lease right away.
And there's a lot of different loans and types that you could check into for the financials, depending on how you're classified or want to be classified. Um, Information is at everyone's fingertips. There's no reason for you not to be able to ask a question and then find the right channels to go
Right.
to.
And then being full circle on what we were talking about today, start feeding this stuff into AI and giving it, ideas and how you're gonna utilize this stuff. Hey, this is the information I have. What are your thoughts on it? What should I be doing with this information? What do you see? What are other people saying? I think that's the biggest thing. What are other people that are looking for the
Yeah,
same information I'm saying, or I'm asking, saying about this? So we'll see what happens, guys. It's gonna be I think anyone in business for themselves, it's always a roller coaster, but it's gonna be a roller coaster for everyone coming up here, seeing how these tariffs are gonna shape the way we do business.
it's always going to be a roller coaster. Just plan on that for the rest of your career.
Well, thanks for listening in, guys. We are over time now. We didn't even think we were gonna last an hour and end up being
Oh,
over an hour.
yeah. Oops.
But yeah, thanks for listening in. If you like the content, make sure you're liking, subscribing,
Like, subscribe, share.
sharing. Sharing our stuff. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Let's get it in front of as many people as you can. If you don't like it, let us know. We're grown ups. We can take it.
If you don't like it, why don't you share it with all your friends and then ask them if
Yeah.
they like it too? Because maybe they don't like it too, and they can team up with you and let you know.
But thanks, guys, for joining the blue collar cruise number 8, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, everyone.